The last part of our step 4 is going to be to look at these three nearby landmarks. You see this is worth 6 points. Again, we are going to go ahead and just use the map that we had copied and pasted into this column as kind of a background to give us an idea as to where things are so we don't have to just completely guess. So we'll head to the map. You'll see I've got my totals elements and the roads already pasted on here that we looked at the last couple of videos. The next part is just the 3 landmarks. Now my map shows 3 landmarks that I can use. If yours doesn't, you might have to go back to this step 3 of your project and use one of your other maps that you used. But the Morehead City map does a pretty good job of including landmarks that we can use. So first I'll start up at the top. I see that there is a golf course up here. Now the shape is a little bit goofy. That's not a big deal. I'm going to use mostly a circle, it looks like. So we'll just get it close. It doesn't have to be a perfect representation. Over there, you'll see that we've got about a good chunk of it covered already. We'll fill it with the color green. And then we'll add a little sort of small rectangle over here because it does extend over this way a little bit. Okay, now if we get rid of the lines here of one of our shapes, you'll see they kind of blend together. And I think that looks a little bit nicer. It's not perfect, obviously, representation, but it's pretty close. And that's all we really are looking for. So there I've got one of my landmarks already created. Next, I see Horizon Middle School down here. Pretty much just a rectangle. We'll go ahead and get as much of it copied as we can. We'll see there. Again, we'll go ahead and fill. We'll use the color purple. Get rid of the outlining lines so that it blends in nicely when I add my second chunk here. Again, I'll go ahead and just use a rectangle. Extend it out a little, down a little, fill it with the same color, make it transparent, and there it blends in pretty nicely. Already 2 of my landmarks created. Now in the maps or the road video earlier, I actually created a 3rd landmark that we can go ahead and use, and that is this roundabout down here. Now in the interest of creating a legend, obviously we need to make sure that we keep track what is what on this map. Purple was Horizon Middle School. Green was a golf course. Red was the lines of my roads. And then this little circle down here that is just transparent was the roundabout. So I've got my legend over here. Let's go ahead and just add these elements on here. The primary shape I used for the golf course was a circle, excuse me. So we'll add a circle down here, fill it with the color green. And then because this is a text box, I can actually type in the text box already as we speak. So green equals, or wait, golf course equals. Notice it all doesn't show up, so let's make the font a little smaller. And there we go. I got a clear representation that the color green represents a golf course. Next, I've got this purple house here, or this purple rectangle here, that I know represents Horizon Middle School. Again, the primary shape that I used was a rectangle, so we'll do the same thing. Create a rectangle, fill it with the color purple. We'll get ready to type. Like I said, that was a school. There is my representation of what a school is on the map. Now next we have our roundabout. This was a transparent circle, so it's important on the key that you include that it wasn't just a regular circle. It was transparent, meaning you could see through it. Because obviously we use the circle of the color green for our golf course. We need to make sure that we distinguish the difference. There I've got my circle. Like I said, that was the roundabout. Oops. 24th. Roundabout equals a transparent circle. And then the last thing that I really need to represent is what these red lines are going across the entire map. And that, like I said, were my roads. So we'll go ahead and just insert a line. Doesn't have to be very long. We'll move it over to the same side as everything else so that it looks nice. Color red. We use 8 pixel line width. Enter down. Roadway is represented by the red line. I now have my legend. I've got my 3 features that are represented in my legend, my 3 landmarks, my 5 roads. Everything is set to go. My elements and totals already. Now all I need to do is to add my actual development. I'm going to choose this area up here. So to extend this a little bit further out and to make it look nice, we will go ahead and create a road this way to represent 14th Avenue. Again, remember we used the color red. Line weight was called 8.8. This has a little bit of a curve to it, so let's go ahead and add that with the connector again, curved connector. The curve's a little bit over here. That's pretty good. And then we're ready to go. Now, it's probably a good idea to go ahead and label our roads, so why don't we go ahead and just do that right now. We've got 40th Street here, 12th Avenue here. We'll just go one by one and then include them in our map. Create a text box. There we go, 40th Street. And then actually what we'll do is we can just go ahead and copy and paste this and then just change the lettering. Oops, that's not what we want to do. Control C, Control V. There you'll see we've got our next one. This one is 14th. And not the street, it is avenue. Extend it out so it fits on one line. Control C, Control V. We've got 12th Avenue over here. Control V. 24th Avenue is down here. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 roads. We've got 36th Street here that we can put. And then our last one was 34th Street, which is over here. For this one, let's twist it sideways so that it looks like it's along the right way. We don't get confused. And then we'll move it over here. And now my map is essentially done. Now we don't want to show the background map of the city of Moorhead that we used. So all we need to do is click. Make sure that you get the background map. I have got it right now. You can see that the wide outline represents the backward map. And if you just delete that, what you are left with is a completed map that you have created all on your own, using obviously the city of Moorhead map as a guide. But this provides a nice little homemade, so to speak, digital map. And then you can add, now we'll add, the next piece will be to add my development, which I'll, like I said, we'll go over here. And then if you want to do any fine tuning, like extend these roads out, that would also make it look a little bit nicer and make it look like a pretty professional map. So with that, I will leave you to decide your own and get your own maps done today.